Today on CTV News at 5, sweet payload. Sugar beet farmers are expecting a bumper crop. Plus, rat-free? Medicine Hat crews think so after destroying a massive nest. And a cougar makes a short visit to Pincher Creek.
CTV News with Alicia Fieldberg.
Good afternoon. The nationwide beef recall has expanded yet again, and more people are sick with E. coli. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency recalled 60 additional beef products made by XL Foods. They range from hamburger patties to bratwurst, meatballs, pepperoni, and jerky. The CFIA is also warning people not to eat the Kirkland brand beef steak sold at one Edmonton Costco location. The agency says several people are already sick with E. coli after eating the steaks. The meat did come from the XL plant in Brooks, but CFIA says it's not clear how or where the steaks became contaminated. So far, Alberta health officials have not been able to link 8 confirmed E. coli cases across the province with XL tainted beef scare. The beef recall is starting to impact southern Alberta cattle producers and feedlot operators. Operations at the XL Foods plant in Brooks were expected to resume today after being shut down yesterday. But the USDA has temporarily banned imports of beef from Brooks. Industry officials say banning imports from a particular plant until the problem is addressed is a normal part of the recall process, but it's impacting the cattle market. Picture Butte feedlot operator Rick Pascal says when processing plants slow down, it has an effect on every part of the industry.
Like, this is kind of a finely tuned machine, you know, like it's a supply and demand fundamental, and so when one aspect of the value chain goes down, which has happened with XL or Lakeside there, you know, the repercussions are felt right away, you know, especially at my level. So you got to search a little bit farther for processors in the States. They know what's up, and so the price goes down.
Pascal says feedlot operators have seen prices drop by about $50 a head since last week. The Southern Alberta sugar beet harvest is underway, and early indications show it'll be an extremely good crop. A spokesman for Rogers Sugar says beets coming into the factory now are showing high yields and higher than expected sugar content. Terry Vogt reports.
Southern Alberta's sugar beet mini harvest has been underway for a week now. And while the beet piles are just starting to take shape, the harvest is shaping up to be a good one.
We're anticipating an above average crop because of the climate conditions this year, climatic conditions. Once we got into the latter part of June and in through July, August, September, we've had nothing but hot weather, and the beets have grown very well.
The quality of the beets this year also appears to be exceptional. Under normal conditions, sugar beets left in the field will keep growing until mid-October. And if early beets are any indication, the sugar content could be at record levels.
Well, you expect to have your earlier harvest beets not quite as good quality, but we've got growers that are reporting, and as we process them through our tail lab here, we're getting growers in excess of 20% sugar. And so that is exceptional for the early harvest beets to be coming in at that level.
One thing that can impact harvest is the weather. The hot, dry conditions in recent weeks means beets can't be stored outside for too long, which right now is limiting the hours of operation.
Well, the heat right now is causing them to only dig beets in the morning when it's cooler, so the beets don't go into the pile too hot. So with the hot temperatures during harvest, we can't harvest all day long. We have to shut down so we have proper storage of the beets.
The sugar beet harvest should be fully underway by next week. A company spokesman says at this early stage, they're on schedule for record high yields and record sugar content. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Taber.
The beet industry didn't get off to a good start this year. A contract dispute between Lantic Sugar and the growers had threatened the industry just before planting season. It's not very common to spot a cougar in the town of Pincher Creek, but a sighting this week caused a bit of a stir. This 1-year-old male cougar was tranquilized after it surprised town residents Monday morning. RCMP and Fish and Wildlife tracked down the big cat, caught and tranquilized it before moving it unharmed to the Castle Mountain area. They say the cougar was probably attracted to the town by a group of rabbits, likely released pets, that now live in the neighborhood. Over the last 5 years, 3 cougars were relocated from the town of Pincher Creek. Alberta may be rat-free once again. The city of Medicine Hat has been working to eradicate a rat colony discovered at the local landfill this summer. It spent weeks trapping and tracking the colony. Yesterday, 24 workers spent 6 hours dismantling an 80-meter-long nesting den. No live rats were found. While this is very positive confirmation that eradication efforts have been successful, city staff say rats could re-establish at the site. They'll continue to bait and monitor the area. And Dory's in with weather. After yesterday's slight dip, it seems to be warming up again, but how long can we expect these warmer than average temperatures?
Yeah, Alicia, you're right. At this time of the year, you really can't get too comfortable with these warmer temperatures. So temperatures will rebound for the next couple of days. We'll be back into the very pleasant 20-degree range, but wait till you see next Tuesday, 12 degrees for a daytime high. I'll tell you where that's coming from in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. Fire investigators say they can't pinpoint what caused a blaze at Costco last week. Early Friday morning, crews from 3 different fire stations responded to the blaze. An automatic sprinkler system helped contain the flames to the southwest corner of the large warehouse building. The store was shut down for most of the day while crews put it out and staff checked out the damage. No one was hurt in the fire, but the estimate from the smoke damage has now been increased to $1 million. Brooks RCMP hope the community can help fill in the details after a suspicious fire at the Brooks Junior High School. Last night, someone set a fire to the base of the track and field change room trailer. Brooks Fire Department was dispatched and quickly extinguished the small blaze, which caused only minimal damage. If you have information on this crime, you're asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. Enrollment numbers are up again in the Lethbridge Public School District. The official count doesn't come out until the end of the month, but initial enrollment figures show there are 9,031 students attending the public school systems this fall. That's over 300 more than last year and up 183 students from what the school district was projecting overall. Enrollment has grown by 5.1% over the past 2 years. Kindergarten numbers have jumped by 24% over that period. As a result, the school district will be hiring the equivalent of 8 more teaching positions this fall.
It's certainly a good thing. I mean, certainly we know that there are always some pressure points, and that's one of the things that we do as a district and as schools, that when the enrollments are very high in certain places, then we add some additional staff or we add some additional support staff. But we are certainly in a position to be able to handle all the students that we have and provide a great education for them.
Public school officials say the elimination of some school and transportation fees at the elementary level may be one reason why they've seen such a strong enrollment increase. It's on time and more than $3 million under budget. Finally, Bridge Drive reopened to traffic today. The route was officially reopened at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Bridge Drive was shut down last August for some desperately needed improvements. The upgrades include the installation of erosion matting and improvements to the drainage system. The project manager says he understands the frustration to the closure that caused some motorists and neighboring businesses, but they had to get it done right, and they're happy with the result.
The main purpose of the project was actually to extend water and sewer capacity to the west side for continued growth. While we did that, we had to dig up the road. So what we did when we put the road back together was actually improve the drainage, because the road had been closed several times because of erosion, and we also added a pedestrian pathway. And if you get a chance to see that pathway, it is a really nice walk.
Bridge Drive normally accommodates 7,500 vehicles per day. That compares with about 40,000 vehicles on Whoop Up Drive. City staff are urging motorists to be aware of the changes to traffic patterns, including vehicles merging from Highway 3 and changing lights. Women's Space is calling on the University of Lethbridge to hold open support sessions after a weekend sexual assault on campus. Officials from Women's Space say the young woman who was abused is not the only one affected by the incident. They say the assault opened safety questions for those living in the residence buildings. The manager of housing told CTV yesterday that this was the first time in her 5 years that she's heard of an assault, and every precaution was being taken to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Women's Space says the impacts can be long-lasting, and they hope to help everyone affected.
Even those community members who haven't experienced abuse or haven't had that same experience, they're still going to feel impacted because it's a member of their community, and especially when you look at residences on campus, it's a member of their family. A lot of these residents form incredibly close communities. They are very, very strong communities. They form lifelong friendships, and when something of this nature happens in their living space, it is going to affect them no matter what experiences they've had before.
The U of L Women's Center Public Interest Research Group and Women's Space Resource Center will hold an open house at 4:30 at Galileo's Lounge. We'll have to wait until next week to see if Justin Trudeau will follow in his father's footsteps and run for the leadership of the federal Liberals. CTV News has learned the 40-year-old son of former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau will make the official announcement at a press conference in his Montreal riding on Tuesday. The Liberals gather in Ottawa in April to select their new leader. Interim Liberal leader Bob Rae has already said he won't run. MPs will vote today on a private member's bill that could reopen the abortion debate. Conservative Stephen Woodworth's motion calls on Parliament to study exactly when a baby could be considered a human being. Canada has been without an abortion law since 1988. Prime Minister Stephen Harper has said he'll vote against the motion. He promised during the last election campaign not to reopen the abortion issue. Immigration Minister Jason Kenney told reporters he'll support the bill. And now let's take a look at the markets.